Why is it important to separate our negative thoughts from our emotions when we're welcoming? What I said earlier was what you resist persists. So why would you say negative thought stop? Is that resistance? Is that thought going to persist? Maybe, but why would we stop our thought, our negative thought, and then tend to our emotion that has attached to that negative thought? And some of the reasons behind that are, with our negative thought, the more we allow that thought to go through our mind, it like etches a rut into our brain, and it etches the memory deep into our brain cells, and the neural pathways get deeper and deeper and stronger, and the connections just continue to create a memory that is more lasting. And the more negative the emotion, or the more negative the thought, and the stronger the emotion that's attached to it, that emotion is power, and that powerful emotion really creates that negative memory to have a lot of passion around it. And the more energy that thought is given, the more ability it has to etch and go and go. Because thoughts that are memories, like things that we've had happen to us in the past, good, Christmas, birthdays, those are etched memories, because most of the time those are special thoughts with special emotions attached to them, and they created a special memory. Or something hurtful happening on Christmas or on your birthday created a huge memory, because it was supposed to have been a special day, and someone ruined it, or someone injured you on that day. And so it became a very, very remembered event, because that is a huge memory attached with a very strong emotion. And those things are the things that last in us. The emotion gets stored somewhere, the thought gets etched deeply into our mind, and it creates a traumatic experience when it goes negative. If the negative doesn't become a part of the story, then it becomes a lasting good experience that we would call a memory. And when we think of memories, it's just something that feels warm and it feels loving. So those things are great. Let the good memories, the good thoughts with good emotions attached to them, stay. Those are great. Those are beautiful. But the things that have happened that have had a bad emotion get attached to the thought. That's what we have to tend to. And that's what we have to break apart. So we have to take the mind and say, thought, stop. You are not welcome here, because by thinking about you, that is not loving to me. And so that thought has to be stopped. You have to guard your mind from unloving thoughts. And then you have to say, emotion, what is your name? How does that thought make you feel? You can say, that thought makes me feel this. Angry, wounded, sad, frustrated beyond belief is another form of anger, but frustrated beyond belief, if that's the terminology that helps express your feeling, frustrated beyond belief, or whatever that feeling is, that's what you take, and you say, okay, that thought helped me come up with my name for my feeling, and then the thought stops, because thinking about that thought anymore is not loving to me. And although you may feel that that person is deserving of this and that and the other, or that situation shouldn't have happened to you because of this, that, and the other, whatever justifies you to think it's okay to think about the thought, just push pause on that. Let's deal with the emotion, the high level of emotion, negative emotion that got attached to the thought, and let's deal with that. Let's get that named, and let's let that flow wherever it needs to go. If it doesn't get to flow wherever it needs to go, it will lodge somewhere in us, and that's where disease comes from. Disease is dis-ease that gets stuck in our body. And so if we can just deal with that negative emotion, let it Be welcome with perfect love wherever it needs to be. I welcome you. Come. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. And just let it be. It will leave. It'll go somewhere, because in the presence of perfect love, it will feel uncomfortable staying inside of you. So it's very important to find perfect love. And sometimes it's hard to find perfect love when you really are agitated or when you really are wounded and you can't find a way to let go of the emotion. Like, don't over process. Just be as best as you can. And in that moment, just let the emotion flow wherever it needs to go. And a quiet place is the best way to handle that, because you don't know what that emotion is going to do. And you don't know how it's going to try to go through your body or exit your body or process in your body or whatever. And so that's a time you just need to be alone, or with a therapist, or however you need to handle that. You'll know. And don't be afraid to reach out for a friend that would help you walk through that experience quietly and just being with you. But that's just some more advice or tips or things that have helped me understand the welcoming process a little bit more. Just the loving yourself enough to stop that thought. It's a powerful thought, because the negative emotion has gotten attached to it. And when there's a high level emotion attached to a thought, it creates a deep memory, a positive memory or a negative memory. Either way, but when it's negative, the thought has to stop. And you have to start dealing with the negative emotion. So that's why you separate them, and that's why you start dealing with the emotion and get that emotion to a less emotional state. Let that emotion become really, really low, powerless. And when that emotion becomes really, really low or even non-existent, the memory really has no more importance or significance. It kind of just becomes like null. So that process is really beautiful. And I have used it many times, and it's something that I would encourage you to develop in your own life.